Well, it's been some time since we've had the opportunity to check in with the Addison Early Childhood Collaborative, but I'm here today with Mary Haley and Bill Nordeman, a member of the collaborative, here to give us an update. As we've talked about in the past, the collaborative is kind of a clearinghouse for information and resources for families of children, trying to kind of set them on the path for success from an early time, Mary. And when we think of the collaborative, at least in my case, I think of really educationally based things, but you've done a great job of bringing in the business community as well. Bill is an example of that. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with him and his business, Smartwash.
Sure, I'd love to, Dory, and thanks for having us back again.
Absolutely.
Several months ago, I had the opportunity to attend the grand opening of a similar project at another laundromat that Bill owns in Elgin. So there is an Elgin Early Childhood Collaborative, and my counterpart there had started to work with Bill on a project similar to what we're doing. So I attended that project, saw the great work they were doing to promote early literacy in the laundromat, and immediately talked to Bill that day and asked if he would be interested when I heard that he had a business in Addison. Asked if he'd be interested in working with us, and he was. He's very committed to the community, so right away we started to talk about how we can replicate, but on a smaller scale, what we were doing or what Amber and Bill were doing in their project in Elgin.
Now, literacy and laundromats are not the first things that coincide in my mind. How does that work? How is the laundromat connected to literacy? Either of you.
Well, we have small children that have time on their hands. Their parents have a task to do, and when you see kids running around with mom's cell phone watching videos or running around creating havoc, to give them something constructive to do benefits the parents and the children. And statistics have shown that if we can increase literacy in young children, we can increase their chances of success in life. So that's the goal, is to partner with the community and other organizations like Mary's, and to give back to the community. We're part of the community. We get from the community. We want to give back to the community, and the children are our future. So we want to do what we can to start them off at an early age. If they enter kindergarten with a higher level of literacy, they have a higher chance of success in school. So that's our goal.
Absolutely. So how you're actually part of a larger association. This is something that laundromats in the area or collectively are something that they're focusing on, correct?
Sure, absolutely. And it's growing by leaps and bounds. Just since Mary and I first met about a year and a half ago, there are literally dozens of laundromats in the Chicago area that are taking similar initiatives. The background is that the Clinton Initiative, or Clinton Foundation's initiative, Too Small to Fail, was the impetus behind it. And then the Laundry Cares Foundation, which is a spinoff of the Coin Laundry Association, took that up and started connecting laundromats with community organizations. And that's how we got involved in the Elgin community, and then where we met Mary, who we've then subsequently brought that to Addison. And so through the Laundry Cares Foundation and the Clinton Initiative, the Clinton Foundation, we're trying to expand this nationwide to many different places where children have idle time, young children have idle time, but specifically laundromats from my perspective, and so it's growing rapidly and it's significant. I think it's going to make a significant difference going forward.
That's great. So Mary, what have you been doing with them? I know this is a fairly new business in Addison, and as you mentioned, it's not quite as big as Elgin's facility is. You don't quite have the resources, but what have you been doing so far?
We've done a few things. Bill had mentioned in the national initiative, the organization Too Small to Fail. They've created template signage that's available on their website. So we provided signage throughout the laundromat that gives parents tips about reading to children, singing, talking to children, and also talks about doing things like sorting laundry together and looking at shapes and talking about colors of laundry. All of that kind of simple activity helps build children's brains, and it is all a part of early literacy promotion. So it gives parents ideas for ways they can use that time to be interacting with their kids, and that helps them develop some early literacy skills. So a lot of it is signage about those types of tips, and then other resources around early literacy. We work with an organization in Glen Ellen named Scarce that is an excellent organization that has a lot of recycling that's a part of what they do, and some of what they do is take donated books from different organizations. A lot of educators that retire will donate books to Scarce. So we'll go to Scarce, get a big supply of books, and then we provide the books at the laundromat, and we let all of the customers know that they're welcome to take the books home, and we'll replenish the supply of books on a regular basis.
That's awesome.
So a big part of it is we're getting books into children's hands and into families. And then we also work with the library. Every few weeks, the Addison Library will go over and do kind of a pop-up activity about a book in particular that's the theme of the activity, and then there will be a craft involved in that as well. So several staff members from the library go over on a pretty regular basis to interact with the kids.
That's great. Now, you had talked about, before we came on, your hopes to expand this to get even more of the community involved. Tell us a little bit about that.
Long term, what we would like to do is expand into as many laundromats in Addison as are willing to work with us. So we've applied for some grant funding that we'll hear about in the coming months, and then if we're able to secure and get some commitments from other laundromat owners, we'll do similar types of projects in other laundromats. And then ideally what I would like to do is involve either some of the junior high school students or high school students that are looking to do some volunteer work to get a schedule in place to go over and read to kids on a regular basis. And then we'll also talk to some of our Addison Early Childhood Collaborative partners to see if they'd like to be involved as well. So it was really cool. Bill was willing to be kind of a pilot project for us here in Addison. So we're looking to build, big picture into other laundromats, and then also figure out other types of services that we can provide.
And since you've got experience working with the Elgin Collaborative and have a little bit more space on your hands in Elgin, tell us how the success has grown there.
Well, the kids look forward to it now. They have, because they have a little bit more space, and they have almost a regular schedule of some kids coming across the street from the local Boys and Girls Club, teenagers, on specific days, and so the kids and the parents know that that's going to be happening. So they will come over, and again, same thing, they'll read a book and do a craft. Because when you engage the mind, reading a book can be a little bit boring, but when you throw in something where the kids can actually participate, then they really like that. We're not going to change everybody, but if we can help just as many children as we can enter the school, become school age or enter kindergarten with literate.
Right.
That's the goal here.
Exactly.
Statistically, they're just going to do better long term. They're going to have more success in their later years, grade school and high school, if they can enter kindergarten with some level of literacy.
Absolutely.
And so that's the goal.
Yep. And you've talked about that a lot in the past. So
yes, one other thing I just wanted to mention, Bill touched on this a little bit, but this was one of the statistics that really grabbed me when I started to learn about this. And you mentioned, in the beginning of our conversation, why the connection between laundromats and literacy. Research shows that the typical customer spends 2.5 hours in a laundromat. And as Bill said, kids might be running around with a parent's cell phone or doing something else, but that's a big chunk of time.
Sure.
That can be invested in trying to reach parents and give them some good tips about things that they can be doing with their kids. And then, as Bill said, literally engaging with the kids in reading instead of just giving books to kids, which is valuable. It's also optimal when you can read to kids and be engaging with them because it's just more fun.
Yeah, and when you have these pop-up events, I'm sure that's an opportunity for you to begin to build relationships with families who may not even know the things that the collaborative can offer.
Absolutely, and that's a big part of what we're trying to accomplish, in addition to the fact that the goals that Bill described for this work in general completely align with our goals. The big thing that makes such a difference for us is we intentionally want to be going and providing services to parents where they already are so that it's convenient, and more importantly, so that they're in a place where they trust whether it's a laundromat or a grocery store or any other business in a community. We know that people go to places that they trust doing business with.
Exactly.
And we want to go and be a part of that. Usually each time that we go and do one of the pop-up events with the Addison Library, we'll have one or two parents ask us questions about other services. So we're not necessarily reaching, hundreds of people all the time, but we know that we are reaching one or two families at a time that are comfortable and will come to us and ask for some help that they might need for support for their kids, and that's crucial.
Exactly, and they know people, and
Yeah.
they can spread the word as
Yeah,
well.
so this is very much like a community-based personal outreach and just trying to build relationships, a family at a time.
Exactly. Well, thank you both for being here. Mary, what can we expect from the collaborative in the near future here?
We're going to be doing our summer outreach events this summer. We'll be at the Henry Hyde Resource Center in July, working with the YWCA, doing some fun play activities with kids. And we're also going to do a similar type of event at the Ardmore Park that's near Ardmore Elementary School in July. So we'll be sharing information with our members about that in the coming weeks. Sooner than that, though, on June 7th, the morning of Friday, June 7th, from 10 until noon, the DuPage Children's Museum is going to have a pop-up exhibit at the Addison Library.
Oh,
so that'll
fun.
be a fun event for kids, all ages really, and it's a walk-in event. The kids don't need to register. So again, that's Friday, June 7th from 10 until noon at the library.
Great. Well, thank you, Mary. Thank you, Bill. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll be visiting with the collaborative again very soon.
Thanks, Dory.
Thank you.